The following is produced by 5-Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
If the Pilgrims had six-pack rings like these when they landed on Plymouth Rock and left one behind, it would still be here today. Millions of birds and other sea life are killed each year when they accidentally ingest or get entangled in this type of waste. When you see one of these on the beach, make sure you pick it up and dispose of it properly. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me as today's environment shows you simple ways to prevent needless destruction to our planet and its wildlife.
Today, City Council expected 9,000
reducing air pollutants by
a milestone.
30%. Educational programs.
Education is a key to our environmental solutions. The 3 R's children are learning in school these days are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Here's a very innovative educational program.
This 4th grade elementary school class is learning about recycling, why it should be done, and how kids can take the message home to parents and other family members. Aside from the immediate benefits, this classroom activity is helping to shape the attitudes of the students, which will favorably impact their recycling practices when they grow up and have families of their own. The children's environmental awareness is being stimulated with the help of a specially designed educational recycling program offered by Rubbermaid. Manufacturers of a variety of products that are familiar to every household, the company knows the importance of recycling, which is demonstrated in its activities as well as in the design of its products. As a follow-up to its successful 1991 campaign, Rubbermaid launched EarthView 92 in conjunction with Earth Day to help promote active participation in recycling. As part of a nationwide campaign to provide guidance on this important issue, retailers were provided with materials to draw attention to the need for recycling and to help consumers know where to take their recyclables. Most people are familiar with the 3 R's of waste management: reduce, reuse, recycle. But Rubbermaid has added a 4th, re-educate, to lessen or divert material from landfills and to help protect our environment. One way the company promotes the first R is by reducing the amount of new materials in its products through the use of recycled materials. The company also seeks ways to use less packaging. This sink set was modified so the drainer tray could snap onto the top of the dish drainer for shipment, eliminating the need for shrink wrapping, protective polystyrene pads, and a cardboard insert. It's estimated this one change in packaging has the potential to save 25,000 cubic feet of landfill space a year. The second R is practiced by manufacturing long-life reusable products that serve the consumer for years. The third R is demonstrated by this company in many ways, from simple in-house paper recycling programs to the complex retooling of over 1,000 molds. Products are now molded with recycling codes established by the Society of the Plastics Industry. The use of quality materials and design, shown in this triple layer process that actually sandwiches in recycled resin, is an example of how this company's products are made with state-of-the-art technology designed to help benefit the environment. The company was the first in North America to make a refuse container of this size and type for consumers. Innovative products designed specifically for recycling, with special features that make them easy to use. Make sorting and collecting recyclables easy and convenient for the consumer. Rubbermaid has named the 4th R, re-educate, as an important part of waste management. In addition to sharing information on how to recycle, the company believes education in the classroom is a vital part of this process. They recently supplied 10,000 schools with an educational program to help build awareness and encourage recycling across the country.
Many scientists have predicted that average global temperatures will increase between 3 and 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the middle of the next century, caused by the greenhouse effect. This poses some serious implications for our future. Today's environment took a look at positive strides being made towards curbing its effects.
An abundance of inexpensive, plentiful energy has enriched our lives. It has provided enjoyment, comfort, conveniences, even cures for our ailments at the flick of a switch or the turn of a key. But the cost has been high to our planet. The burning of fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gas to create the power needed to provide this energy has had a marked effect on our atmosphere, ranging from smog to acid rain to global warming. As glaciers melt over a period of centuries, the sea level could rise. Some present coastal areas would become part of the ocean. The shift in climate could deplete our water supply and cause drought. The warming is the result of what is known as the greenhouse effect, a phenomena first described in 1827. It explains why a greenhouse can stay warm even in cold weather. The glass, like the atmosphere above the Earth, allows the sun's heat to enter the greenhouse, but traps much of the heat radiation from leaving, just as gases do in the atmosphere. In fact, this is what makes our planet habitable. The greenhouse effect turns into a problem when certain gases, which are known as greenhouse gases, build up in the atmosphere and block too much of the heat from radiating back into space. The heat is reflected back down and warms the Earth. While there are some 30 greenhouse gases, almost half of the global warming is caused by one gas, carbon dioxide. Energy conservation, simply burning less fuel, is one of the major strategies to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide entering the atmosphere. This means using less electricity and taking fewer automobile trips. Other strategies have been developed as well, notably by a company from an industry that is a major consumer of fossil fuels, New England Electric System of Westborough, Massachusetts, which serves parts of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. Their concern for the environment goes back decades. Recently, in the 80s, they began taking steps to increase the use of natural gas, the cleanest burning fossil fuel, in their plants. Their Nice Plan 3 strategy, initiated for the last decade of the century, is one of the industry's most sweeping commitments to improve the environment by reducing air emissions. They are also considering the establishment of incentives to promote energy conservation among their customers. And they make a special effort to reduce emissions at the source by burning fuels with low sulfur content. They are also following the recommendation of the National Academy of Sciences and initiating strategies to mitigate the effect of greenhouse gases that have been associated with global warming. To accomplish this, Nice plans to implement a pilot program which will evaluate emission offset strategies as well as pilot projects in advanced renewable technologies. Offset strategies consist of ways to reduce greenhouse gases other than at the source. These include tree planting and enhancing marine algae growth to absorb carbon dioxide. Renewable technologies involve the generation of energy through advanced biomass, which uses wood as a fuel source. Waste to energy, the burning of garbage. The capture and use of landfill gas. And wind and solar generation. It is clear that to continue to live the good life, we must make more sensible decisions in our energy usage to enjoy all that our planet Earth offers.
Every day, 66,000 garbage trucks roll out to pick up America's trash. Each makes more than 500 stops while unloading several times a day. Today's Environment thought it would be interesting to find out how we monitor the many millions of tons of waste that end up in our landfills.
The weigh scale. What would our world be like without it? Whether we think about it or not, we count on the scale every day to weigh our groceries and even our garbage. For centuries, man has bought, sold, taxed, and regulated commodities by weight. In many respects, solid waste has become a big commodity, and it too must be regulated by weight. This regulation is very important to the life expectancy of our landfills. But as our population grows, so does our waste problem. In turn, our landfill space begins to shrink. Before the solid waste we create can be disposed of at our landfills, it must first be weighed with the utmost accuracy. This is one means of ensuring the projected lifetime of our landfill sites. Even our recyclable commodities like paper, aluminum, glass, and plastic have to be weighed before they are processed or sold to recycling facilities. Though weighing solid waste may sound simple, this is no small affair. Massive trucks and railroad cars that haul these heavy loads sometimes weigh more than 100 tons, and each load must be weighed on sturdy scales that are not only fast and efficient, but tolerant to hostile environments. What once was a complicated and laborious job has become so intricately computerized and accurate that weighing hundreds of tons of waste matter is as simple as driving a vehicle onto a platform scale. The idea for the platform scale evolved during the early 1800s when farmers and other businessmen were faced with the problem of an accurate means of weighing thousands of pounds of cash crops that went to market. That is, until the Fairbanks platform scale was devised to answer this age-old problem. Weighing at that time was accomplished by means of a 2,000-year-old Roman steelyard. The steelyard was sufficient for small loads, but weighing bulky loads on wagons and carts was slow, laborious, and inaccurate to say the least. Faced with the problem of weighing large cash crops which were bought and sold by the ton, an enterprising young man named Thaddeus Fairbanks devised a new weighing machine that greatly revolutionized the weighing process. Rather than using a hoist, which was the only means of weighing large wagon loads at the time, his idea was to dig a pit and place the weigh platform level with the ground, eliminating the need for hoisting the load that steelyard weighing required. Little did he know that the scales he would invent would end up weighing the world. Today, these scales are so intricate and computerized, there's little room for mistakes. From 5-ton capacity wagon scales of yesterday to 120-ton scales of today, Fairbanks has provided accuracy and dependability for vehicle weighing from cargo boats to railroad cars. Though Fairbanks scales are doing their part in weighing millions of tons of recyclables, solid and hazardous wastes, we all must do our part in helping reduce the growing amounts of waste produced each day.
Most people think that hazardous waste is primarily produced by industry. Everyday household products like nail polish, oven cleaners, paint, and even motor oil are considered hazardous waste. It's important to determine what is hazardous and how to properly dispose of it. Let's take a look at one way this is being done.
The safe disposal of increasing volumes of municipal and industrial hazardous waste generated by our society has become one of the major environmental concerns of our time. Since the passage of RCRA in 1976, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, which regulates the production, handling, and disposal of hazardous wastes, the focus has largely been on the management of waste by industrial concerns. Hazardous wastes in smaller quantities are also being produced by auto body shops, printers, dry cleaners, contractors, and other small businesses using chemicals, acids, inks, paint, and solvents. Another source is closer to home. In fact, it is in the home, under the sink. In the average household, there's a large assortment of cleaning products, pesticides, insecticides, aerosols, and other chemicals that contain hazardous substances. And out in the garage or some other storage place, you're likely to find a collection of paint, lacquers, paint thinners, adhesives, and other chemicals that are classified as hazardous. There's also a problem of disposal for those who change their own motor oil, discard old batteries, and do their own automobile maintenance. Since the 1970s, Burlington Environmental Incorporated, recognizing that residential wastes were not being managed properly, addressed the problem. The company, one of the largest hazardous waste management concerns in the country, is headquartered in Seattle, Washington. It offers a variety of treatment, engineering, and remediation services to a diverse nationwide customer base that includes both large and small industrial companies and community-based clients. At first, as a public service, the company offered free weekly household hazardous waste collection days at its treatment facilities to local residents. In 1984, the company joined with local municipalities to offer one-day HHW collection events. In 1989, Burlington went a step further in its program to reduce HHW by establishing the first permanent household collection facility and the first mobile collection program in King County, Washington. It spelled the start of responsible, coordinated regional management of household hazardous waste. On any given day, as many as 200 vehicles drive up service station style to the site to drop off containers holding household waste that may otherwise have found its way into sewers, local landfills, or the environment. Using appropriate safety and protective measures, the wastes are separated and prepared for proper management. In a little over 2 years of operation, the program has processed over 45,000 vehicles and collected and properly managed over 3 million pounds of household hazardous wastes. This makes the operation the most successful ongoing collection program in the country for this waste stream. With more than 1% of all solid waste generated, literally billions of pounds in poisonous household products entering our environment each year, it's time for all of us to deal responsibly with the leftovers. At Burlington Environmental, they're playing a big role in assisting communities in the proper management of these wastes in a safe and environmentally sound manner. When is a landfill not a landfill? When it becomes a park. This is Thomas W. Dennehy Park, a 50-acre recreational facility in the heart of Cambridge, Massachusetts, which was recently completed right on top of a dump site. For more than 20 years since the closing of the old landfill in 1966, the land lay dormant, unusable, as it slowly settled. Throughout the 1980s, engineering studies and site proposals were examined, until visionaries in the local government selected the plan for a park. It was to be a recreation facility serving the local schools. The landfill also had to be converted safely, considering that this park would be located on top of an abandoned waste dump. In designing the landfill closure and reuse plan, regulations required a landfill cap, which is the application of 3 to 5 feet of capping material such as clay, synthetic liner, or earth. In fact, as much as 40 feet of cap in key areas was used to ensure public health and safety. The task of bringing these plans to fruition was in the hands of Camp Dresser and McKee. Under their direction, the old dump site became a beehive of activity as new fields and paths were carved out of the earth. To ensure the future safety of the area, the City of Cambridge and its consultants actively monitor groundwater, air quality, gas venting, and soils for any hint of contamination or waste leakage, as well as any signs of further settling, such as cracks in pavement. With constant repetitive monitoring, any change in conditions will be evident. This type of monitoring will continue for many years. While the restoration of the land to create Dennehy Park has provided immediate benefits to the area, Camp Dresser and McKee has been involved for decades in projects worldwide, providing long-term engineering solutions to clean up past and current environmental problems and prevent future ones from happening. Boston Harbor is a case in point. As a result of many years of neglect, indifference, and misdeeds, the condition of the harbor had deteriorated to a point where it seemed it was irreversibly polluted. Today, with the construction of a new state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant for the area, which was conceptualized by CDM, there's hope that within 10 years, changes will be brought about that will make the harbor a better place for everyone.
Most of the people who work as environmental engineers, whether it's in the government, or in private practice, or in with a consulting firm, all have the same, I think, general feeling that what we're doing is not only a way that we can make a living and a career for ourselves, but also we're doing something to improve the environment in which people live in.
Whether it be in the heart of America, in Europe, Asia, or the nations of the Pacific Rim, innovative technologies are being employed to provide dynamic solutions to difficult problems, and the environmental engineer is at the forefront of these solutions. Entire river basins are cleaner because of the work of environmental engineering firms. Millions of people throughout the world are drinking cleaner water because of their work. With considerations of the environment on the front burner in the 90s, environmental engineers led by leading firms like CDM will continue to be the ones whose responsibility it will be to get the job done.
Each year, an area of forest larger than the state of California disappears from the earth. If every family planted a tree, there would be 100 million new trees in America. Let's take a look at someone's initiative to ensure that there are plenty of trees in our future.
When you look at a forest from up here, all you see are trees. But come in a little closer and you realize there's a lot more to our nation's forests. The trees and the areas surrounding them are alive with an amazing variety of wildlife, birds, animals, and aquatic creatures. The question has arisen, can man coexist with these species? Can they and the forest themselves be protected when forest product companies harvest trees to meet the ever-growing demand for wood and paper products? Georgia-Pacific Corporation, one of the world's largest manufacturers and distributors of pulp, paper, and building products, and a large private timberland owner, has developed a plan, Forestry for the 1990s. It works to make timber harvesting, conservation of our forests, and protection of the natural habitats of wildlife compatible. Reforestation and the practice of balancing harvests with tree growth is an integral part of the plan. Their forest management practices are based on the rule that for every tree harvested, one or more trees must be grown in its place. The company uses scientific methods to grow trees faster and taller and hardier than the previous crop. This practice guarantees diverse, more productive forests that grow more trees per acre to meet society's demand for wood and paper products. Where endangered species are present, foresters and wildlife biologists work together to identify and protect their habitats and colonies. Georgia-Pacific is harvesting timber in the Northwest while at the same time managing habitats for the northern spotted owl, which has been designated as a threatened species. The company's wildlife biologist, working with Georgia-Pacific foresters, has identified the birds' nests and determined their nesting and habitat needs. Trees containing nests are marked and the surrounding forest is left undisturbed, helping to ensure that the species will survive. In the southeast, the red cockaded woodpecker, once a common bird in pine forests, now is listed as an endangered species. Working with a consulting forest wildlife ecologist on the company's 4 million acres of southern timberland, Georgia-Pacific foresters are learning about the bird, its habitats and nesting needs, and how to locate and mark active colonies, maintaining protected areas of 3 to 10 acres for each of them. The gopher tortoise is listed as an endangered species in some parts of the country. Found in hot, dry, mostly uninhabitable climates, this self-propelled eating machine has managed to survive for millions of years. In 1984, the surviving gopher tortoises in South Carolina lived on some 950 acres of Georgia-Pacific timberland. The company donated the land for its protection, part of thousands of acres Georgia-Pacific has donated since 1969 to organizations concerned with the protection of animal and plant species. Through good forest management, Georgia-Pacific's forests will continue to provide a home to not only the wildlife mentioned, but also deer, armadillo, bears and butterflies, eagles and hawks, alligators and squirrels. This has been the story of one company's efforts at conservation, combining scientific agricultural practices and environmentally sensitive forestry, proving that timber management plans can be compatible with wildlife and the health of our nation's forests.
Saving trees is one way to remove excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and eliminate future consequences of the greenhouse effect. It's important to remember that all living things are connected, and what's good for nature and the environment is good for us. Let's all make a commitment to plant at least one tree this week and help make the air we breathe a little cleaner. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join us next week as we continue to search for more environmental solutions on today's environment.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.